Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. We've got this lovely Cooper with a tartan interior in for some service work. This is another one of those Japanese market cars, as you can see here by the sticker. I've been seeing a number of these show up lately, and this one is a great example of one of these cars. Look at that lovely interior. Like, just check out these door panels. That's such a cool color pattern. Yeah, it's got this lovely wood dash. And it's got a set of cup holders I've never seen, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, just check out these seats. Lovely condition. Lovely interior. So, yeah, fun stuff going on here. The car's here for some sort of regular service work. It's also coming in for some suspension work. Let's check out these wheels. Nice mini light deep dish. Oh, sport racing fuel cap. I've seen these kits pop up for the boots. Looks pretty nice. Let's see. So yeah, suspension work. Probably going to check ignition, check fueling, a couple of their odds and ends, some oil leaks. So I'll dig in here and see what's going on with this car. But yeah, just another nice example of a limited edition car from Japan. Let's check out the under the hood. So here we are under the bonnet, and once again, classic Japanese market car with full air conditioning. Absolutely no space to work, and I have a water pump to do on this car and a radiator, so that'll be kind of fun to deal with. But yep, you ever wonder what the limits of stuff you can cram in a mini engine bay? This is about it. So, like I said, I'm going to be doing ignition work first and make sure all that's good before I go off. Nice to see that it's got a brand new oil cap on here. So the owner might have been watching my channel and saw those videos with the fast lane single point injection car having a bad oil cap. So this one at least doesn't have that problem. Anyway, let's dig in and see what we find. So let's start where I always start. Let's have a look at the spark plugs on this car, and I will check ignition wires as well. I think these are factory wires. They have this one special wire. You see this end, but it's designed specifically to clear the alternator. And the rest of them have these sort of other shaped boots. So I'm assuming these are probably 25, 30-year-old wires. So I'd say a set of wires is probably due on this car, but let me get them off and check the resistances. So I pulled the cap off. Cap actually looks fairly new. Just a minor amount of dust in here. All the posts look good. The brush looks good. So I think this cap is probably okay. And I'm just going to take one wire off and have a measure. Now I know these are resistor wires. I'm really just looking for consistency in the measurement because, again, this is a computer-controlled fuel-injected setup, so it needs to have resistor wires, but I just need to make sure they are in the right range. I don't want them to have too much resistance. I've been using the multimeter here. I measured these wire resistances, and most of the wires are 5,000 ohms each. However, the number one spark plug lead was 14,000 ohms, so I'm going to go ahead and replace the set. Also, whenever the wires do this and they don't relax, that's an indication they're breaking down internally. So this set needs to be replaced. The cap looks good. I just gave this quick blow off with some compressed air, but yeah, this looks like a brand new cap. And the spark plugs, they had okay coloring. The gaps were correct, but I noticed that these were N9YC Champion plugs, and given that this car is fuel injected, it would require resistor plugs. So I'm going to go ahead and fit a set of BPR6s, gapped again at 35 thou to this engine. So that should bring us back to factory spec on the ignition. The one more thing I need to check is the coil resistance. So let's see what the resistance of this coil is. Multimeter is set to read resistance, and let's see what it says. 0.8 that's exactly the right resistance for this car, so I'm going to leave this coil alone for now. So plugs are replaced, wires are replaced, coil is original, cap is original. So this seems to be pretty good. And now it's time to move on to other things. Oil's good. The cap is brand new, like I said. Vacuum line seemed okay. So everything in here seems okay for now. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next task, which is a full suspension rebuild. Now I know what some of you might be thinking. Why are you using the standard shocks? Well, this car is pretty much just going to be driven on the road locally. It's not a race car or anything. So we've got the standard cones here, adjusters for the front and rear. These are adjustable tie bars in here, and we've also got some ball joint kits. So I better get started and get this whole thing taken apart so we can fit all this new stuff. One thing I do want to point out is that I'm not doing tie bars or rear subframe adjustable plates. It just wasn't going to be needed on this car. Again, just a street town car. No sense in spending a ton of money trying to dial every little tiny fraction of an inch out of the suspension when it's just not needed. So this is essentially just sort of a budget-oriented suspension refresh. So I'm going to get started in the back here. And one of the tasks I always like to do before I pull this all apart is just check wheel bearing play. In this particular case, I don't feel any. I also like to check for any trailing arm play. And once again, I can't feel any back here. So the other side is the exact same as this. So at least I know that suspension-wise, this trailing arm is good and the wheel bearing is good. And also, I looked at the brake adjuster, and it's got plenty of material to adjust with, so I know that the brakes are good in here as well. So it's always nice to do a quick check before you start tearing apart any of the suspension parts, just so you have an idea if there's any additional items to address when you're working back here, because now would be the time to fix it while you're back here anyway. So let me get the wheels off, and I'll start pulling the shocks off and getting everything apart. So I thought I'd show off one nice feature of this car, and that it is absolutely pristine back here. I mean, look at these seams. There's no rust. I mean, it looks absolutely fantastic, condition-wise. So this car is going to be a real treat to work on. So initial thoughts, well, the shock bushings are pretty kind of flat. This bushing is crumbling. The shock itself is leaking oil, so this one's at least perished, and I'm guessing the other side is the same. But like I said earlier, no play in the trailing arms, so I'm gonna go ahead and just get the trumpets out, and we'll fit the new ones. Out with the old, in with the new. The one thing I do with these kits is I cover all the threads and the sleeves with anti-seize. Same with the tip of the knuckle here. I just don't want it rusting into this sleeve. So yeah, I just go through and grease that all. I also put a little anti-seize on the shock sleeve and the threaded top section here as well, just to make sure that it's easier to take apart in the future. But yeah, once all that's done, I'll be able to just pop it back in place and start working on the other side. And there we go. New cone, new adjustable suspension, new shocks, all fitted. I did replace the cup in the trailing arm in case you're wondering about that. So this side's done, the easiest side of all to do. What lies next is a gas tank removal and a whole front suspension project. So I've gone ahead and removed that boot board. It wasn't pretty difficult because there was no hardware. And look what I found hiding behind the paneling is that someone had put the tank securing strap over the fuel lines, thus pinching the fuel lines against the tank, and also the tank itself is loose. So hopefully that's not because of the boot board, because I'm going to refit this strap back up against the tank and secure the tank properly once I put it all back together. But I now need to remove this tank in order to gain access to the shock mount that's hiding behind here. So as you can see here, I've gone ahead and removed the tank. Just a little lubrication around the neck gets it out of the grommet over there. And there's the one pinch bolt down here that holds the strap in place. But the whole tank can be walked out, but still attached. I haven't disconnected any of the fuel lines yet, and I don't have to. But now you can see why we have to take the tank out. It's because the shock tower mount is hiding behind the tank. So now I can get to the shock tower and get this side off. And just like that, through the magic camera, I've now fitted that shock in here. And I'm ready to actually fit the tank back into position. As you can see, new suspension parts fitted. And I also went ahead and adjusted the brakes while I was here. So I've got the tank all fitted again. Like I said earlier, I needed to get these hoses separated from that pinch clamp. So now they're free to move around, and the tank is now fully secured. As you can see, the bolt is tightened up all the way here. So this tank is now the way it was, and thankfully I didn't fill the trunk up with any fuel. In fact, my pan is still nice and dry. So now I'll just reassemble all this trunk stuff, and you get the Monza cap back on there, and I think the back suspension is at least assembled but not adjusted.